Welcome to the Pardes channel. Today we explain Exodus chapter 18 in a clear and simple way, step by step. I am so genuinely thrilled that you're joining us for this explainer because we are going to do a deep dive into the straightforward, plain meaning of the text. There are no complicated symbols here, no hidden codes, just the fascinating, real-world narrative exactly as it unfolds in the scripture. We're going to look at the people, the geography, the conflicts, and the absolutely brilliant solutions presented right here in the text.
Now, before we jump right into the ancient desert, let me ask you something. What can a thousands of years old text actually teach us about burnout, about feeling completely overwhelmed, and about the vital art of delegation? Well, let's dive into this, because honestly, the answer is a whole lot. While this is absolutely a foundational historical and spiritual text, Exodus chapter 18 also happens to contain one of the earliest, most brilliant masterclasses on leadership and personal sustainability ever recorded. It takes a very modern, very relatable problem, being terribly overworked and desperately needing help, and it shows us exactly how to solve it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We are going to walk through this chapter strictly in chronological order. We'll start with Jethro's arrival, the rejoicing over the Exodus, Moses' heavy judging burden, Jethro's advice on delegation, appointing the leaders, and finally, practical lessons.
Section 1. Jethro Arrives in the Wilderness, covering verses 1 through 6.
Okay, so just to give you a quick bit of context before we start, the Israelites have just been delivered from slavery in Egypt. Right now, they're currently encamped out in the harsh desert near the mountain of God. The text opens right up by introducing us to Jethro. Now, Jethro is the priest of Midian, and he also happens to be Moses' father-in-law. Word has traveled about everything God had done for Israel. The news has spread. So Jethro sets out into the desert, bringing with him Moses' wife Zipporah and their 2 sons.
The text actually pauses here in verses 3 and 4 to explicitly define the names of Moses' 2 sons. It kind of acts like a mini biography of Moses' life struggles up to this point. The first son is Gershom, which means, I have become an alien in a foreign land, directly reflecting Moses' own exile. The second son is Eliezer, meaning, my father's God was my helper, he saved me from the sword of Pharaoh. These names are just profound, everyday reminders of his past isolation and his divine rescue.
Moving on to verses 5 and 6, we get to see the actual logistics of this arrival. Jethro, together with Moses' sons and wife, reaches the desert encampment. The text is very specific here. Moses is camped near the mountain of God. Now, Jethro doesn't just walk unannounced right into the middle of this massive camp of hundreds of thousands of people. That would be chaos. Instead, he sends word ahead to Moses, announcing, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons. It's a remarkably respectful and orderly approach.
Section 2. Rejoicing over the Exodus, covering verses 7 through 12.
After that formal announcement, the tone immediately shifts to a deeply personal reunion. Verse 7 paints this incredibly vivid picture. Moses, the great leader of Israel, goes out to meet his father-in-law. He bows down and he kisses him. This is a tremendous display of respect and familial love. They greet each other, they head into the tent, and then Moses tells him the whole story. He recounts everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians. But notice, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He also details the hardships they had met along the way and how the Lord ultimately saved them. Hearing all of this, Jethro is just absolutely delighted. He bursts into praise for God, and then, in this beautiful act of community and worship, Jethro brings a burnt offering. They all sit down, Moses, Jethro, Aaron, and all the elders of Israel, to eat bread together in the presence of God.
Right in the middle of all this celebration is verse 11. Jethro says, Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods. This is absolutely crucial. Jethro, remember, is the priest of Midian. He's a spiritual man from an entirely outside nation. But hearing the unvarnished truth of the Exodus, the plagues, the rescue, and the survival in the desert, that solidifies his understanding. The sheer unprecedented scale of the deliverance proves to him the absolute supremacy of Moses' God.
Section 3. Moses' heavy judging burden, moving into verses 13 through 18.
So the next day, the party's over, right? It's time to get back to the daily grind of running a newly formed nation. Let's look at the scene described in verses 13 through 16. Moses takes his seat to serve as the sole judge. We are talking about a massive population here, hundreds of thousands of people. And whenever any of them have a dispute, they bring it to one man, Moses. The text says the people stood around Moses from morning till evening. Can you imagine? It is a complete logistical nightmare. When Jethro asks Moses why in the world he is doing this, Moses explains that the people come to him to seek God's will, to have their disputes decided, and to learn God's decrees and laws. Moses' intentions are entirely noble, obviously, but his execution is a massive, massive bottleneck.
Jethro watches this grueling, exhausting process all day long, and in verses 17 and 18, he steps in with some classic father-in-law tough love. You really have to love the irony here. Moses, the great liberator, turning into this accidental micromanager, only to have his father-in-law visit and immediately give unsolicited advice. But it is brilliant advice. He tells Moses point blank, "What you are doing is not good. The work is simply too heavy." Jethro warns that Moses is going to wear himself out, and equally important, he's going to wear the people out too. Imagine standing in line in the blazing desert from sunrise to sunset just to get a simple property dispute settled. It's totally unsustainable.
Section 4. Jethro's Advice on Delegation, covering verses 19 through 23.
So this brings us to the solution. Jethro leverages his outside wisdom not just to point out a problem, but to propose a highly structured, vastly superior system. In verses 19 through 21, Jethro lays out his plan. First, he clarifies what Moses' true role should be. Moses needs to focus on the big picture. He must be the people's representative before God, and he has to focus on teaching the decrees and laws so people actually know how to live. But for the daily disputes, Jethro says Moses must delegate. And notice the exact criteria Jethro sets for these new leaders. He doesn't say, hey, find the most popular guys. He says to select capable men who fear God, trustworthy men, and specifically, men who hate dishonest gain. They must be morally upright and completely incorruptible to handle justice properly.
This next part just brilliantly illustrates how organized Jethro's mind is. In verse 21, he proposes a strict mathematical hierarchy. Instead of a flat, chaotic structure where everyone reports directly to Moses, he suggests appointing these capable men as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. He breaks this massive, unwieldy population down into highly manageable, highly organized groups. Everyone now has a local judge they can easily reach out to.
Verses 22 and 23 really draw a clear line between the old workflow and the new one. In the old system, Moses did everything, leading to total exhaustion for everyone involved. But in the new system, these appointed officials serve as judges for the people at all times. They handle all the simple, everyday cases on their own. They only bring the truly difficult, unprecedented cases up the chain to Moses. Jethro promises that if Moses does this, his load will be lighter, he'll actually be able to stand the strain, and all the people will go home satisfied.
Section 5, appointing the capable leaders, taking us through verses 24 to 27. Now, advice is really only as good as its execution, right? Step by step, the text shows us Moses' incredible humility. Here is the man who speaks directly with God, the guy who brought the plagues down on Egypt. And yet, step 1, he just listens to his father-in-law and does everything he said, no ego. Step 2, he actually goes out, chooses capable men from all Israel, and sets up that exact hierarchy of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Step 3, he empowers them. The text confirms they served as judges at all times, bringing only the hard cases to Moses. Once this brilliant system is finally up and running, step 4, Moses sends his father-in-law on his way, and Jethro peacefully returns to his own country.
Section 6, Practical Lessons and Recap. Let's bring this ancient text into our lives today.
So, we've walked through the historical text verse by verse. Now, how do we actually apply this ancient text to our lives today? Well, the crucial takeaways are super clear. First off, no one, and I mean no one, not even a great prophet, is meant to carry the burden of leadership or life entirely alone. Attempting to do that only leads to burnout. Second, true leaders humbly accept good advice no matter who it comes from. Moses didn't let his pride stop him from listening to Jethro. Third, when you do get help, you need to surround yourself with trustworthy, capable people of high moral character. And finally, proper delegation doesn't just save the leader from exhaustion, it actually satisfies the people, making the whole community run so much smoother and happier.
Take a real look at your own responsibilities right now. Are you trying to be the sole judge from morning till evening? Where do you need to delegate, share the burden, or humbly seek out some advice in your own life? Let Jethro's wisdom guide you. Thank you for learning with us. If this helped you understand the chapter better, like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter.